Well, look, welcome to another edition of Behind the Illusion. There's some traumatic things going on right now. A lot of firestorms out here where I live in Southern California. Actually, I had to evacuate at one point over here near Calabasas, West Hills area. There's a lot of damage going on. So we have our panel here with Light Rider currently, Roke, and Kai, who we're going to delve behind the scenes and get into some more of the deeper aspects that's not really being covered um, on mainstream media. You know, some of the things we're looking at conspiracy fact and conspiracy theory. So we're going to really get in there. So welcome once again, subscribe and like, and we want to go ahead and get started with this. Gentlemen, how's everybody doing?
Great.
Doing great.
Outstanding. Thank you for that intro.
Okay, great. So one of the things that I definitely want to, bring up is the aspect of how did these fires start? Is it due to some sinister ulterior motive, such as the HARP weather control system that are initiating these things, or do you think it is actually something called fire season? Because I do know out here it was very cold, and it had just rained a few days beforehand, and my common sense didn't strike me as, it didn't let me see this as something that just started organically. And behind that, we're dealing with the plans, as everybody is saying, for Southern California, especially the Palisades area, being one of the prime places to become a smart city. So with that being said, what do you guys think about that? Anybody currently, what do you have on that?
Well, there's a lot to unpack, with that. There's many different perspectives to look at. There were many different fires. So I think the last narrative that they tried to direct it to was an individual or certain individuals, which I don't believe that at all, which it could be some individuals that took the opportunity to light some things on fire. How I would imagine by how frustrated some people are. But I've seen live footage of certain activity taking place that was not natural, and was not done by the physical hand of a man striking, the grass or whatever with fire. You're talking about weapons, starting fires, certain type of weapons that they utilize.
Are you talking about these lasers that supposedly are reportedly coming down from space or some type of vehicle in the skies? Is that what you are hitting at?
That's one. That's one. That's why I said it's so many different perspectives, and I don't want to get personally stuck in one. I'm just letting you know there's other things taking place, because a person will acknowledge that, but also you have this epidemic, so to speak, prior to the fires of these so-called UFOs or these UAPs or whatever, that nobody's talking about. But at the same time, these UFOs, because they're not being identified, or UAPs,
Can you let the audience know what UAP stands for?
Unidentified aerial
Phenomena.
Yeah. So a lot of these have shown up in the footage of the fires. These things did proceed along with other paranormal, I would say, activity. It's a lot. Okay, so I'll just stop right there. just letting you know, there's a lot of different things that's taking place at the same time. So people can't say, no, that's not what's happening. What's happening is what I'm talking about. No, and then people getting in arguments. There's a whole lot of stuff happening all at the same time. There's layers to all of this, you know.
Okay.
So I'll stop right there.
Okay. What do you think, Light Rider?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard different perspectives. I mean, I definitely heard, well, let me say this, and I just want to take this off the table. I don't believe that it's weather related. You know, I don't believe that this has anything to do with global warming, as this, you know, as a stage is being set, you know, like this is a part of something that has to do with global warming. Um, I believe that this was definitely uh, a fire that was started, you know, whether it was from an electrical grid or and whether it was started intentionally. I don't believe that it was weather related. So there's been reports about, as brother currently stated, was about the drones, you know, but also there was you could clearly see other people, and I won't say that started the fire, but you could also see that there was arsonists, people that were starting these fires and intentionally setting fires as these fires were already in place. So I, you know, my gut tells me that it was definitely intentional. It was started by human, not by you know, just happenstance. Um, and when I say human, whether it was, you know, some drone flying object or it was intentionally set, I think definitely it was intentional. I don't think this was an accident because there's too many things that just kind of line up. You know, one being that they, you know, if you hear the reports about insurance, the insurance company State Farm canceling policies, you know, a short time before these fires happen. You know, also, you hear about firefighters that was laid off, you know, months before this happened. So there's a lot of different avenues to explore and different things that we can take a look at. You know, that's kind of thought provoking. But that's kind of my take on it.
Okay. Um, I know that we had some brief discussions before we actually started to tape this particular episode, and we had discussed the insurance. You know, we discussed the fires being like what was the origin of the fires. So now that we have these fires that are going on, what was the purpose? What do you think is behind the fires? Why would they start these things? Kai.
Well, I'm gonna go back a little. I don't put anything past anybody. You know, it's really hard to think that it was naturally occurring fire due to weather. You know, I don't believe that. There's too many things that transpired to show otherwise, and for people to do it intentionally, as horrific as it is, you know, I don't put it past anybody. Now to answer your question, why, excuse me, why that would transpire for something purposeful, you know, what they would deem purposeful. You spoke of the smart city. Um, you know, in their eyes, you know, if they gotta redo a whole new smart city, Palisades being prime location in Southern California, um, you know, they burn it down and start from the ground up to the way they would like to do it and raise house prices even more. I can see that. You know, it kind of reminds me of, not kind of, it definitely reminds me of Lahaina. You know, the Lahaina fires. You know, that's a beautiful land, beautiful sacred location. Um, you know, and there's too many things also that just, you know, don't make sense, don't coincide, and it's just, you know, definitely raises an eyebrow to what's going on. That is also prime location, you know, beautiful prime location. So there's definitely things that are transpiring that are raising eyebrows. You know, Light Rider, you mentioned the insurance companies, you know, pulling policies prior to the, you know, right before the fire started. I mean, you know, there's no denying that. That's fact, you know, and how does that transpire? You know, defunding fire departments. There's too many things. So yeah, that's what I have right now.
Okay, so we have this set up, where we, as intelligent people, definitely do not think that this was an accident or caused by um, natural causes. Okay, so you mentioned, Kai, about Maui, Lahaina, and one of the things that I will say, there are a lot of coincidences. Okay, but the primary one that I could definitely think of um, is that there was no water to fight the fires. The water ran out. Los Angeles did not refill the water basin as they were supposed to. I believe it was 125 million gallons of water that should have been put into this reservoir to fight these fires. Now, how does that happen, Rope? How do you feel that comes to pass in a place where you have these career politicians? You're living in a very wealthy state, and over the recent decades that there have been fires, major fires out here. Why do you think they did not have the resources, basic water, to fight these fires?
Yeah, I feel that, even when you first mentioned and brought up about why, you think this is happening, you have to think about the thing that came to my mind was preventative measures. Because if we're in California and we know that there's a fire season and we have all kind of scientists and they have panels in the government, on how to prevent these things, and the reservoir would be a safety uh, mechanism utilized to handle things like fire and fire season in the dry lands and the mountainous areas we have in Southern California. So we talk about behind the illusion, we have to tap into the agenda.
Okay, sound like you're going out, brother. Does anybody want to add to that until the brother gets his technical difficulties worked out? Brother Lightrider?
Yeah, I would just say, I mean, not to add to what Brother Rockstar was saying, but just kind of on the lines of the parallels between Maui and the LA fires. One is Maui was set to be a smart city, right? Some people don't realize that LA, there's plans for LA to be a smart city in 2028. And I do have some information. I'm not just pulling this out of my own mind, but let me see if I can find this information and share this information, because I think it's very important for people to understand that there is plans for the city. And yeah, there was a clip that was just up. So
about the rituals?
Okay, no, about the smart cities.
Okay.
But yeah, if you can pull that clip up, we can just take a look at that one. Or I can try to share my screen. Let me share my screen. Maybe that'll be easier. Okay. And this is dealing with the smart cities. Okay.
These challenges, Los Angeles looks to smart city technology that can positively transform our urban environment. While not a silver bullet, technology provides solutions that were previously unavailable to the generations who lived before us. It is technology that enables transparency in our policing and gives a powerful voice to our diverse communities. It's technology that innovates alternative energy sources to reduce pollution and limit our carbon footprint. And it is technology that provides ultra-high-speed internet connectivity for LA residents and businesses to do amazing things. Technology enables the city of LA to efficiently and ethically improve the quality of life for our residents, businesses, and visitors.
Okay.
In other words, when done right, technology makes us smarter.
So as you can see,
that's why the city of Los Angeles strives to be a smart city.
So as you can see, so these smart cities, anytime that there's a plan such as a smart city, right? Some kind of initiative, then that means that there's great change that has to take place. There's when you talk to people, some of these people are not on board with smart cities. Some people feel like having a smart city provides the government more control. So I saw the parallel between the LA fires and the Maui fires, because the Maui fires, once again, in the areas of Lahaina and the areas of where these fires are starting here in LA are both set to be smart cities. So once again, when you have an initiative like that, some change has to happen. Something initially usually happens for that land or wherever those smart cities are set to take place. They have to be cleared so that the new construction can begin. So that's kind of a one theory, if you will, that's out there.
Okay, and thanks for sharing that clip, which is for educational purposes. So now we can definitely see that we're moving in conspiracy fact now, because that was a promotional or an informational video that was set before the public's for consumption, so that the public could see that Los Angeles definitely had a plan to bring forth a smart city. Now, with that being said, I know we talked about the insurance. So a lot of I know when I moved out to California, back to California recently, um, it was all virtually impossible to get fire insurance for the area that I live in, which, like I said, we had to evacuate. And I know many other areas you just can't get fire insurance. So what does one do when they cannot afford to rebuild? I think we need to tie those dots together. When your insurance has been canceled and a home that you inherited or you are barely holding on to is burned down, and a lot of these homes, especially in Palisades, are multi-million-dollar homes. Uh, one of you guys, please connect the dots on the lack of insurance and the implausibility of being able to rebuild, and who gets the land after that.
Well, I'll say this. I know that it was. I actually spoke with someone today who they have somebody who has strong ties with State Farm Insurance. Okay, so this is not firsthand information. I'm just, this is what I was told, that first and foremost, State Farm probably saved about 30 to 40 billion dollars not insuring those homes in that fire, right? Had State Farm insured those homes in the state in the fire, State Farm most likely would have had to file some sort of bankruptcy. Now, if somebody's not able to rebuild their home, then that means that the government has to step in. And oftentimes, when you look at certain areas where there's been any kind of damage, whether it's weather related or any kind of fires or anything happening, and where people are not able to rebuild, the government usually will step in, or the state will usually step in and take over that land. Okay, and oftentimes they will rebuild, but those people are either displaced, placed in another city or another area, or they have some kind of government subsidy to where the government now has to take care of these people and help them financially.
Can I ask you this?
Yeah.
Does this leave a lane open for the banks to come in and buy up these homes for cheap, or just to get access to purchasing these homes or these plots of land?
Well, I would say that the banks already own the banks. A lot of times when people have mortgages on the homes, the banks own the homes. They may not own the land, but they own the home. They may never own the land, but they own the home. So yeah, it's, of course it would be an opportunity. But and I can't speak emphatically, but I do believe that this is instead of the banks picking up the land, the state would actually step in and pick up the land and grab the land. Some people call this a land grab. Some people thought what happened in Lahaina was considered a land grab. So I don't put it past, that from happening, because we know that it's happened before. And by the way, this isn't the first time something like this has happened, where there's been a fire or something happened where it's wiped out a whole community and they're rebuilt. So this is nothing new.
Okay.
Sounds like
Yeah,
they're
I
working
would.
in conjunction.
Go ahead. Repeat that.
I was gonna say, it sounds to me that they're working in conjunction. You know, just like big corporations that buy into politicians. You know, it's, one hand wash the other. You know, and who ends up suffering? The little guy, the family man. You know, it lands nothing to them when they're talking about millions and billions of dollars.
Okay. Uh, so I want to just shift a little bit, and we're going to go into the paranormal. Maybe somebody could provide some video footage of this. Um, so, nowadays it's kind of hard to believe anything that you see on these social media platforms because AI has gotten that sophisticated that anything is possible to show forward. So I just want to use that to underscore whatever images are going to be here or whatever is going to be said. But in light of that, there have been reports of these vehicles, like brother currently had spoken of, these unidentified uh, phenomena or vehicles, being seen where a lot of catastrophes are going on now, and even uh, demons, these black uh, smoky images flying in and out of these particular uh, areas. Does anybody have anything to say to enlighten the guests? I mean, the audience on this?
Yeah, I wanna say if somebody can pull up footage, I have some, but I'm kind of leery, like I said, because it's other people's footage. But there's tons of footage out there um, with these different entities. I don't know what you want to, call them, but uh, they're not just part of the fire. Okay, and I don't want to say it's one thing, but one thing that I did see is soon as I saw it, and then I heard, did a little research, and I heard and saw other people pointing this out, which is the fog. But I what came to my mind, because I've seen this type of technology called the smart dust. Okay, and I saw the movement of this, and that's just what hit me when I first saw it. So I went and did a little research, and I was like, wow. Okay, and this is in the midst of the fire. Somebody was like, oh, it's a kite. This is at nighttime on top of that. And so there's a connection between everything that y'all pretty much saying, between the insurance companies, and just like I put up how State Farm canceled 72,000 policies just prior to this fire. So we can to me, this is about dumb versus smart. Okay, dumb versus smart. This is a theme going on. Okay, smart cities. Um, um, the reasons why they given the fire started is completely ignorant. Why they couldn't use ocean water, things like that. The reasons why they couldn't use these things, is the excuses that they given is like completely ignorant. To me, they're leading everybody to at the same time believe that just the structure of LA alone is ignorant. Okay, how is, and when people look at it in all honesty, it is. Okay, but who designed it that way? They're talking about their own, what they designed in the first place, coming back to tear it down so that you can do what? Choose the smart city. Everything's directed towards this smart city, but at the same time, if they don't build smart city, they got to give that land back to the indigenous. Remember, the Pope came out and denounced the doctrine of discovery for the indigenous, which in essence, the reason why they took this land in the first place was because they said that God told them that, basically they had the power to do it, and anybody that didn't uh, adapt their doctrine was subject to be destroyed because you was considered a heathen. Well, they denounced all of that, and look at all the stuff the Pope's doing. All the stuff is tied in. He just did on the 5 day of opening up these portals. What was released since that? Look at all this madness, all these things. All this is tied in together. So there's tons of footage. Like I said, if somebody have some that they feel comfortable rolling it in.
Now,
Okay,
when you
well,
say,
just briefly.
I did. Yeah, I did, and then, but it's not organized, so I don't want to waste time.
Okay, well, for clarity, I believe they did have planes that were using ocean water at one point over here in Palisades, scooping up water. So I just want to
Yeah.
say
Well,
that.
now what they're saying, okay, and they're doing it, see through the deception. They're coming back and because everybody's asking, why are you just not using ocean water? Okay, all that water right there, and you just watch, and so they're now coming back. Well, we can't because excuses like the firefighters might get electrocuted. We can't because it will destroy the land. And people are like, well, ain't that what the fire's doing? You rather have fire burning because now there are people dying. You
Well,
rather
it's
have
the
fire burning people up and putting ocean water on the, and they use it
salt
anyway.
water.
For instance,
it's the
when oil tankers, you know, catch on fire, they use that. So it's all gonna sound dumb, and the solution is going to be the smart city. So if the smart city was set up, then you wouldn't have these type of issues and why there's no water in the fire hydrant. This is
Okay.
all dumb versus smart.
Let's do this, Brother Kern. I think Brother Kai had something he was going to add to what you were saying.
yeah, I was just gonna add because I heard I was thinking the same thing. Why didn't they use the ocean water? But they're saying that the salt. This is what they're saying, that the salt from the water destroys the soil, and not just the top of the land, but destroys the soil so you can't reproduce anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas the fire, it burns the top, everything above, but doesn't destroy the soil. So that's their reasoning of why they don't use ocean water. Is it true or not? I don't know, but that's what they're saying.
People, yeah, they're coming right behind and debunking all of everything they're saying. There's people coming back debunking it. And matter of fact, they have used ocean water recently. You know what I'm saying, to do it. Somebody pull up that footage. You know what I'm saying as well. So, but I'm just it's a lot. It's a lot going on with this. Oh, and then some.
Yeah, it's just amazing to me how California, being one of the fire prone states, in the U.S., and there's no water in the fire hydrants. That just blows my mind. There's
You
no
know how
water
much?
in the fire hydrants.
Yeah. Do you know how much? So her name is Janice Quinones or Janice. She makes $750,000 a year. And
What is her position?
And who is she?
She is the chief engineer executive officer of LA Department of Water and Power. So that was her job, and she didn't do it. And she making $750,000 a year.
They want
to. Besides the salary, I understand. That she was getting paid $750,000, but even if she was getting 50,000, that doesn't she should have been able to take care of that task and make sure that there was water. I don't know if she's the sole reason, because you are dealing with politicians, and we know that politicians aren't the most straightforward people. There's backdoor deals that are made, things of that nature. But somebody or a group or a team of people, all the way from Gavin Newsom to the mayor of Los Angeles, Miss Bass, they all dropped the ball. All of them, in my estimation.
I agree.
Right. And I think it's bigger than one person too. I mean, she might have a job and a title. That doesn't necessarily mean that she may make the decisions, especially when there's underhanded things like their water, intentionally setting fires. These people may not always be aware of what's going on. There's people that believe that there's a whole shadow, government or people behind this government, and these people are just kind of filling in or fillers, so to speak, just being polite. But yeah, it just blows my mind. Like I said, when you have a state that's so prone to fires and you don't have enough resources, and you don't have simple water to fight fires, that's a major issue. I don't think it should fall on her shoulders alone. You
That's what I
know,
was
it's
Well,
got to be.
exactly what I was
yeah,
saying. A team of
that
people, because there's an
Mhm.
an equivalency with Maui once again. When Lahaina was on fire, they
Mhm.
refused to use the water, citing that it was the for nature. You know, they had ordinances and codes that this had to be left over uh, to deal with, you know, the vegetation and the rare species over there. But you know, what's more valuable, human life and property, or you dealing once again with the nature? So these calls that are being made, you know, these commandments that are coming down from the hierarchy of the political field have dire consequences when they're not for the benefit of the people.
Right. And I'll say this too. I mean, it's not in that same vein, but um, you know, again, I hate to say, I'll use the word conspiracy, right? I think this fire also began to expose things that a lot of people had already been pronouncing, you know, like the underground tunnels and underground cities and underground transportation. You start to see things that are being uncovered, you know, in areas of LA. Also, the what's the center up there? Um, the
Getty.
Gettys, the Gettys, right? So
Getty
not in
Museum.
that same vein, but this is kind of going into, you know, just wanted to bring that, make that awareness as well. They're starting to see these underground tunnels and places where, you know, there's a lot of things, and I don't even, that's a whole nother show. But people have been talking for a very long time about these underground tunnels and what they're being used for. And a lot of celebrities, a lot of people's houses have burned down, you know, and how that is all interconnected. So,
Yes, I did hear something about those the fires exposing the underground tunnels, and I believe if you think about what just transpired in the whole uh, Sean Combs situation, where you're talking about the underground tunnels from, you know, his house and to the Playboy Mansion, and you know other things of that nature. I don't know if that's what you were
Getty image.
alluding to, but yeah, those are things that are out there. So it's much deeper than what the general public um, knows. You know, we're hand fed generally the information that they want us to know. So that's hence behind the illusion. You know, would like to delve deeper into some of these topics. Now, these vehicles, just going back on that because I know everybody didn't get a chance to talk about them. Do you think these are man-made vehicles that are out and about in these situations, or do you think it's some spiritual, uh, paranormal type of thing that's going on, or do you think it's just um, special effects created by AI by people who have nothing better to do with their time?
Me personally, I think it's a little bit of a little bit of both. Um, is because there's a lot going on. I mean, when you tie it into even, you know, the Pope and so forth, his rituals, but people have I've seen, like I said, videos with my own eyes, and some of them, guess what, were news clips. I just have a hard time right now really pinning down where it is, so I'm not going to search for it, but some live news footage just showing the fires was flying through the, you know, the sky in not any straight, you know, pattern, but, you know, erratic, so to speak, with intelligence, you know, just what are people gonna say? And then other, you know what I'm saying, things taking place and other videos, but um they definitely have the type of technology to pull this off. Okay. Like I said, the first thing I thought is the smart dust. You can go look it up. You'll be amazed that they have the dust. They have the ability to make dust move, you know, in unison to do whatever they're doing. But nevertheless, there were objects, you know, that many people have recorded uh, that were above these fires, and also um, video footage of beams coming down. But also, I want to mention too that yeah, they're gonna try to pin it on certain individuals, or even bring the focus to like the mayor who wasn't. Look at all these coincidences. These are you gotta. Or are they all psychics? You know how the insurance policies were canceled 72,000. What was that 17, what was that 17.9 or 17.6 billion was just canceled prior, funds removed from the fire department. Okay. Just prior, something like, let me pull that up just so you see that real quick. All these coincidences. The mayor was out of town, wasn't even there. All these coincidences. People were told not to come to work. You know, what is this? Los Angeles cut 17.5 million from fire department budgets months before deadly fire. What are they talking about? This is clearly, when you look at the totality of the situation. No fire in the hydrant, water in the hydrants. It shows that there was definitely a conspiracy to accomplish this, and just by the stories and reasons that they given, once again, as to how this all got started, and they want us to get caught up in that, because it's, to me, once again, smart against dumb. Okay, even if you prove that they did not, even if you prove that they did it, it's like, okay, now what? Now everything's burned. It's all burned. We got to do something now, right? They got a solution. Smart cities. Okay, and like I said, now they're attacking the land itself. Like LA is stupid. You're gonna hear this lingo. You know what I'm saying? And the design of it and everything. So the solution, so that this never happens again, is the smart cities, which goes
Okay.
into tying human beings into technology, which is a whole nother subject.
Okay, and just for the sake of backing up one of your points, you mentioned the Pope uh, opening these portals, and I know a lot of people uh, don't necessarily believe that that happened, but I'm going to go ahead and put up a video just so we can get a little quick glimpse of him actually doing this. So excuse what you see right here. I'm just going to play it very quickly for educational purposes only. This is a lot of symbolism in this, but there is a meaning behind this. Why would the one of the world's biggest religious leaders uh, go through these things, through this process of doing this? So just so the audience can see that, there's a lot more footage as well. But, okay, but go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think it's, isn't it ironic how much uh, has happened since that's happened, you
Since it's
know,
happened,
since it's happened,
yes,
right? I mean, we're
right,
we're only 15 days into the so-called new year, right? And
hmm,
look at how much has happened, from
exactly,
2025. So I don't think it's happenstance. I think I think these things are all interconnected. The things that are happening, not just the fires, but other things that's happening. It's all interconnected. So if we're starting the year out like this, man, who knows what this year is going to turn out to be like?
right. And it's not about woo woo or you know
Hmm.
reaching into the clouds for things, but these are things that are actually transpiring and taking place, and
Right.
we have to put the pieces together to show this. So these are some things I see. The brother has it on the screen. Go ahead and elaborate on what you pulled up, brother.
Yeah, if you can hear me. So it says 1 year ago, Pope Francis disavowed the doctrine of discovery, but indigenous Catholics work to respect and recognition goes back decades. So you're gonna constantly see him tying in the Pope tying in whatever he's doing with the indigenous. with the indigenous Indians, the indigenous. But these are the ones that's making leagues with him. These are not the ones, the original ones. Okay, so it's also some deception going on. Once again, when you talk about doctrine of discovery, when he denounced that, that's who gave the authority for everybody to raid the earth, pretty much, especially more so the Americas.
Do you
Now, when you
remember
talk
which
about
papal
this,
bull that was?
uh,
What
uh,
edict?
Dum Diversa, doctrine of discovery, it was a papal bull
And
of,
I would
I want to say
recommend that everybody
1452,
to,
something like that, 1452.
yeah, I would
That was
challenge
prior
everybody
to
to
Columbus.
look at that. Yeah, to look
Mhm.
and to see. But tell them a little bit of the nature of what that was.
Well, it was basically a papal bull which gave an everybody that was basically establishing the religion that they was practicing at that time, that they pushed on everybody. Okay, it gave them
Catholicism.
the right to go conquer all the lands, and basically subject whoever's in those lands to the Pope. Okay, so he
And
gave
if
them
they didn't,
authority
and if they
to.
didn't want to be subject to him, what happened?
They murdered him.
There
Okay,
you
they
go.
eliminated him. Okay, so
Mhm.
that was like the option. So that's how they took the Americas. Okay, but they said they did it under the authority of God. So people felt like too that if they disobeyed what they were doing, they were disobeying God. So
So
by
so
them
tie,
saying, "Hey,"
so do me a favor, tie all this back into the fires.
because when you talk about the land, the land is either going back, got to go back to the indigenous people that it was taken from, and if it's not claimed, they're gonna proceed with their smart cities, which once again goes back into tying people, humans, transhumanism, tying people into computers, and goes in all off into the AI technology and the robots and all the coming robots and all of that. So if when they denounced it, he denounced it. Now, in essence, the indigenous that's is free to get the land. Okay, but we know that it ain't gonna just be like that because they're dishonest people at the end of the day, and they have an army. You know what I'm saying? Nevertheless, these is wars taking place beyond even what I'm saying. Beyond what people just looking at some land on fire. Okay, so yeah, and all of this stuff you can actually just type in, and you'll see that these are conversations. At least this is information. What I'm saying, to that's being had. Okay, and topics and discussions that's being had and being brought out.
So let me
Um,
ask you guys this, and anybody feel free to jump in. When we say smart cities, because you're hearing that tossed around a lot nowadays, what is in a smart city? I know you put the clip up earlier, Light Rider,
Mhm.
but what would you say? What does a smart city look like in layman's terms?
Yeah. So, and I'll say this: one of the main characters in today's time that's pushing this smart city is none other than Bill Gates. He's already started his initiative. I think it's been over a year ago. It was stated that he has, like, I think he bought, goodness, he bought a massive amount of land for about $80 million, and he started this project in Arizona, right in the desert. The smart city is really tying technology into the infrastructure of that city. So everything is tied in. They can control the electric grid. They can control the water that comes in. They can control vehicles, the what they call the driverless driverless vehicles. They This whole infrastructure, they call it a smart city because it's going to be built on technology. Okay, and once they control the technology, they can control the people in the city. So
This is the
I'm going to try to find a clip of something that I may be able to share. But yeah, this is an initiative that they're pushing for people to be able to, for them to be able to control the resources in that city. Okay, and some people even, I think, call them 15-minute cities or something like that. So something to look into.
And Light Rider, while you drop that name, also let's keep in mind that Bill Gates also was headlining the population control.
Right.
And it goes,
Exactly.
so it all ties in. And then one little small tidbit in regards to what we were showing about the Pope. is, you know, fire and ritualistically is used for sacrifice. So if you think about it, you tie all this into all this land and they're trying to move on these things and the opening of the portholes, you know, it's all like a religious tie-in. So when we talked about, well, is the things that we've seen flying, is that supernatural? Could it be AI? I think it's people working with those powers that are supernatural to bring forth this thing. If you talk about the Pope, that's all I have.
I want to
currently
see if I could share something real quick. And this is dealing with the future, you know, something that deals with these smart cities. And out here in California, you see these all day, every day, especially on the west side, the upper to middle class to wealthy areas. Let me see. Can you guys see my screen?
As the future of driverless cars, but many Americans are skeptical
So
of the
they have
technology
fleets
because
of
of
these
safety concerns.
all around.
To
You
ask the
see cars
question, how
driving by
concerned should
themselves.
we be? Chris Van Cleve got an exclusive first look
Just
at
so
one
you
of
could
the
take a
fully
real
autonomous
quick-
cars operating at full speed on the freeway.
So we're getting on the freeway.
You're along for a self-driving first. We are the first true passengers invited for a ride on a freeway in one of Waymo's fully autonomous electric Jaguars, meaning there's no one behind the wheel.
The car stays under the speed limit, which is 65.
Riding with us is Waymo's principal software engineer, Pierre Kreitman.
So, you know, everybody could go ahead and, you know, look into that yourself, but just wanted to put a quick clip of that. I see it all day, every day out here, but a little bit behind the illusion, I have an associate that I know that works for a company, and he tells me that there's people in warehouses that are actually driving these vehicles. Like if you go to a Dave and Buster's and they have a screen up, you know, in front of them and some other screens that are actually driving these. So who knows what's really going on? You know, there's a lot of things that you know, are presented to us that's not actually real. But I'm gonna leave this up open now to brief closing comments on what we have discussed so far.
Yeah, can I share this one image real quick? Just
Yes.
This is regarding the smart city. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, let me play it.
Fantasy city that Bill Gates dreams about? Well, it's a city deep in Arizona that will use technology to optimize every single aspect of life. While this would primarily make the lives of its citizens much easier by providing a seamless network that controls electrical grids, transportation, social services, and other services, it also has a broader pitch, though, to be honest. A city that does not require you to stand in line at the DMV is a pretty freaking...
So just kind of give you a little bit of insight, you know, as to what the plan is for educational purposes, you know, to show you what the plan is. You know, that Bill Gates, his initiative started in Arizona. So, of course, that's kind of like a test ground for that. I believe it was said it was in a massive amount. Don't quote me on this. I think it was like 225,000 acres of land in the desert, you know, so that he can start his. So as you saw, the plan for 2028 is the same for here in LA.
And let's not forget about Mark Zuckerberg, who allegedly has been doing the same thing. His name was really brought up, and Oprah allegedly, for the Maui situation. Okay, so
you guys,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, because the video that Light Rider just shared with Bill Gates saying they're starting in Arizona. What do you guys think on this? Is this a stretch? Conspiracy of a stretch? State Farm, right? Pulling 72,000 policies right before the fire. State Farm also being utilized as the State Farm Stadium in Arizona, where the LA Rams had to move from Inglewood to go play over there for their first playoff football game last week. Just tying that all together, is that a stretch? Do you see any coincidence in that? Anything behind that, or it is what it is?
Oh, are you talking about where they were this place they couldn't play in LA, so they had to play in
State Farm Stadium in Arizona. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't speak on that. I'm not sure. But who knows? You know.
Yeah, I wanted to play a quick video just to give a visual of the smart city, just so you kind of, you know what I'm saying, get more of a visual of what they're talking about, if possible.
Okay, yeah, and let's have these as our closing statements. Go ahead.
Because this is also tied into Elon Musk. Okay. It's also tied into, you know, Trump, who's working with Elon Musk to bring forth the technology, you know, and it's ultimately about control. But they set one up in Dubai already. This is like a prototype for what they bring in here.
Dubai, where the future isn't tomorrow, it's today. Smart solutions seamlessly connect businesses and enhance the everyday. Smarter, faster, more efficient. The future of urban development is here. Connect, collaborate, discover the solutions shaping smart cities worldwide at Smart City Expo Dubai 2024. Livability meets sustainability. Dubai elevates well-being for all. Dubai champions sustainability. Smart City Expo Dubai 2024. Experience the future of cities. Experience Dubai.
So that's just like I said, a quick clip where they, and there's more obviously, but just to show you they
Like China.
integrating everything, everything to with technology. Okay.
Right. And that kind of goes into, to me as well, another character, Elon Musk, that is wanting to put the computer chip in the brain, you know, the people. So all of this to me screams control. Smart cities, technology, AI, putting computer chips in the brain. This to me is just kind of like them trying to build the infrastructure for this in real time.
So smart city is not smart city is not now. Okay, just real quick, I'm sorry. So you hear them giving excuses as to what happened with this fire, and it's the ignorance is not going to stop. Okay. They want to institute their smart cities, but how can ignorant people who couldn't handle this situation set up a smart city? Okay. The smart city may sound like it's smart, but if you got ignorant people setting it up who couldn't handle this and they allowed the land to be destroyed, why don't they just ask the indigenous people how they dealt with the land instead of trying to bastardize?
Once again, I think that goes back to the original point that a few people on the panel said that it was done intentionally.
Yeah.
Not that out of ignorance that they didn't know how to stop it, but they didn't do it on purpose, and that's why we're in this situation.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, it looks like that's going to do it for this episode. We want to thank everybody for joining in and taking your time to rock with us. Please like and subscribe. Tell a friend. You know, this is one of our maiden voyages, one of our first ones. So we are behind the illusion. I want to thank Brother Light Rider, currently Rock, and Kai, and we'll be here with some other behind the illusion topics. Thank you.
Look forward to the next
Peace.
Love you all.